Hey, what's up? It's Peter. I'm going to do a comparison today of two different drum kit sample libraries. I'm comparing Native Instruments Abbey Road Modern Drummer and Red Pack Drums DS Drum RCS Essentials. So we're going to do some listening, and I'll talk about what the similarities are, what some of the differences are, and then we'll do some more listening. So, with that, let's dive into a little bit of listening. Now, it should be understood that both of these libraries are really flexible in terms of mix and in terms of customizing the kit. So, what you just heard doesn't represent everything they can do, not nearly everything they can do. So, moving forward, let's talk about the similarities between these two things. They both have a graphic user interface that involves tabs, like what you're seeing here. They both have a MIDI tab to adjust like incoming MIDI signals and which drums those are assigned to. They both have a Grooves tab where you can take pre-programmed patterns and drag them right into your DAW. They both have a mix panel tab for mixing, and they both have kit customizing tabs. RCS Essentials has a lot more available in terms of customizing the kit and a lot more in-depth mixing panel too. They both have heavy and light CPU variations, meaning that some settings are less demanding on the computer and some are more demanding. They both have multi-mic signal paths, which is a hallmark and totally essential to any pro-level drum kit library. And they both have round robins and dynamic layers, which is also something totally essential to working at this level. So some differences. We can start with the cost, and these numbers are based on now when I'm making this video. RCS Essentials cost 139 euro, which is 151 US dollars. Modern Drummer costs 90 euro, which is 99 US dollars. The Modern Drummer from Native Instruments can also be purchased in a bundle of all of the Abbey Road drummers or of everything they make, and so the value goes up. It's effectively cheaper to buy a lot of stuff from them. For RCS Essentials, you can get a 20% discount code, and that's actually in the description of this video below. Other differences: content. RCS Essentials is built around this handcrafted, high-end set of drums. They're handmade, they're top-of-the-line drums that are naturally very resonant and rich. Modern Drummer is these two different iconic drum kits in a legendary room. These are Tama and Pearl kits recorded at Abbey Road in London. They have different character. The RCS Essentials has more options by far. There's just all of these drums to choose from and build your own custom kit. Generally speaking, these are punchy, heavy, kind of wet rock, pop, metal. They have excellent, strong dynamics, hard-hitting dynamics. Whereas the Modern Drummer kits, they're very natural, they're very real sounding, excellent stereo image, excellent subtle dynamics. There's more going on in the quiet hits. And you could, like, if you're looking for genre that this matches better for, it's pop, rock, jazz definitely more so, and R&B. Now the room that RCS Essentials was sampled in is a bit smaller by comparison. It's very present and resonant. The samples are just naturally pretty wet here, and so it makes sense maybe in more of a pop rock kind of context. The Modern Drummer kit, on the other hand, was recorded at Abbey Road Studio 3, and this is just a larger room. The reverberation is far more subtle. It's more diffuse. The stereo image is vivid and it's beautiful, while the whole thing is still relatively dry. And that might sound counterintuitive to you that there is this bigger room, but yet it sounds more dry. But that's just the physics of it. The walls are farther away, and the overall energy is more diffuse. System resources. I don't have a scientific way to really measure this because both of these libraries operate within a range of what they need from the computer. I can tell you that they both ran easily on my M1 Mac Studio, and they both ran easily on an M1 Mac Pro laptop. So for the kits that I tested here that you heard, I found that the RCS Essentials generally needed more RAM and generally less CPU by comparison. The Modern Drummer kit generally needed a little bit less RAM and generally needed more CPU by comparison. And these were not big differences. Let's talk about variations, or what some people call articulations. That is just different ways to hit drums and instruments. Modern Drummer has more to offer with off-center hits of the drums, cymbal hits, and more rim shots and chokes. There was just more different ways to hit a drum sampled. The RCS Essentials, on the other hand, has a lot more drums and cymbals to choose from. You can really build a custom kit from a lot of choices. Most uniquely, they also have the opportunity to tune those drums. And I'm not just talking about tuning the samples, like resampling so that the whole sample pitches up or down. I'm actually talking about they resampled all these drums at different tunings. So you can pick tunings that are higher or lower to match the key you're in. You can pick tunings that have more sustain or less sustain, etc. It's a very unique feature and something that I haven't seen in any other library. So, like, another way to describe these differences that I just mentioned is that Modern Drummer has more ways to play the kit, where RCS Essentials has more ways to configure the kit. The mixer. In short, the RCS Essentials mixer is comprehensive, complicated, and possibly overkill. And the Modern Drummer is straightforward, but it has fewer mic signal paths. Let's do a little more listening. Here are some snare drum variations on the Modern Drummer kit. I'm going to use all the different articulations or ways I can hit the snare drum, and I'm going to use all the dynamics. And here are some snare drum variations on the RCS Essentials. I'm using, right now for this demonstration, I'm going to hit all of the hits that I can with the Maple Koto snare drum. There's a little less dynamics available here. I'm going to play the quietest note. And here's the loudest note. Little limited on the variations. Okay, so there's fewer ways to strike the drums. However, if you look at the panel here, you can see that there's a lot of different drums available. Here's some metal drums. Here's the RCS drum series. By the way, when you switch between these, you actually see the drum. So I've switched to the mahogany here. Here's the Mother Nature series. Another added feature is that they've sampled all these drums at different tunings. So we're at the mid tuning of the Bog Oak here. Here's the low tuning. And here's the high tuning. So fewer articulations, but more drums and tunings. Cymbal variations. I'm going to use all the different cymbals, all the different ways of hitting the cymbals. I'm going to do some rolls and stuff, and I'll do different dynamics. This is all with the Modern Drummer. Here are variations on the cymbals. I'll use all the dynamics and all the hits. You might have noticed that there's some cutting off of samples, and it's because there's limited polyphony on some of these in order to conserve CPU. It's kind of a downside of this. It makes it difficult to do cymbal rolls. An upside to the cymbals here on the RCS Essentials is that you can change these cymbals out. So here's the splash cymbal I was just playing. That's the 12-inch small splash cymbal, and here's the 8-inch EX. And all of these cymbals can be swapped out for different cymbals. The last thing I want to show you is the variations I can get out of the kick drum here in the Maple Koto kit. I have different beaters. So here's the wood beater. Here's the felt beater. And here's the wool beater. Subtle, but actually important in the mix. All right, conclusions. They have a similar price, especially with Red Pack discount code, which is in the description. There are more drums and custom kits in RCS Essentials. There's better subtle dynamics in Modern Drummer. The rooms are different. RCS Essentials is wetter. It's more rock sounding. Modern Drummer is drier in a larger room, perhaps better adapted for jazz. In general, it's a tie. They both have unique strengths and weaknesses, and different producers have different needs anyways. If you produce in many different genres, it'd be worth it to own both of these. Lastly, I'll mention you can get a free demo of RCS Essentials. The link is in the description, and you can get a 20% discount code, which is also in the description. Thanks.